So finally, Dennis has agreed to do what Devon always wanted him to do, and that is to pass on the legacy hammer to its rightful owner. But I think that at East versus West 15, where both Dennis and Devon are going to be present, instead of just letting Artem Morozov claim the hammer from Denis Siplenkov, there is something else which is almost the opposite. If not the opposite, then quite different from what is being suggested right now by Engin Terzi. And that is something which I want Devon Larratt to do. I've already suggested this to Devon. Let's see if it is a feasible option for the arm wrestling community. But before we talk about that, let's take a look at the topics which we will discuss in this video. Please like the video and subscribe if you like the content here. So first topic is obviously Devon Larratt, Denis Siplenkov, Artem Morozov, Engin Terzi. The issue resolved by Engin himself. Then we will talk about the Neil Pickup and Devon Larratt interview. Coach Ray was also there, where they discussed Brian Shaw versus Eddie Hall and the possible future matches that Brian Shaw should be taking in the future moving forward, and who is training Eddie Hall for this upcoming super match at King of the Table 13. Then we'll talk about Orden Larratt versus Abhas Rana, which is probably one of the most hottest topics in the arm wrestling community right now. And finally, Kamil Jablonski versus Alex Cordecha. Is Alex scared of Kamil as Kamil is claiming? So first one, we were just discussing a couple of days ago in the live stream, 3 days ago, that Engin is probably the only person who can solve this legacy hammer issue because Devon tried everything and nothing worked. And next day, I wake up to the news that Engin has in fact solved the issue because he's the man, he has the best connections in the arm wrestling community. So Engin called Devon and asked him if he wants himself, which means Engin, to talk with Dennis to bring the hammer to East versus West. And at that point, Devon was like, I'm already over that topic. I don't care anymore. Do whatever you want to do with it. So to me, it felt like when we were kids and we asked our mother to prepare our favorite dish and she said no, then we threw some tantrums and then the mother prepared that dish anyways. She brought that dish to us and we were like, no, we don't want it anymore. But in fact, we did want that and we still take it afterwards. So I think that's the case. Weird analogy, but that's the case with Devon in my opinion. So he will be happy with that. So first of all, Engin mentioned that Dennis told him that he's going to bring the hammer. So he respects Engin's request, not so much Devon's request, but he respects Engin for sure. But he also mentioned that he never really cared about the legacy hammer that much. And that is something which kind of seems weird because we all, not all, but most of us have seen the Matt Rhodes 1.5 hour interview with Denis Siplenkov in his gym, where he clearly showed that he cares about the legacy hammer so much. He had kept the note from Devon Larratt, well preserved, the legacy hammer along with all of the trophies shining there, said that this is one of the favorite trophies. And the fact that he didn't want to give it back to Devon shows that he did care about it. Maybe he was using that hammer to just piss Devon Larratt off, but still that means that it was something useful to Denis Siplenkov. And a user wrote this comment under Engin Terzi's video. Andrea Jekvaladze. There's a 20-minute long video on Vitali's channel discussing the legacy hammer only. It doesn't seem that Dennis was somehow forced to take that hammer. Dennis does care about that hammer and understands the concept fully. He's saying it's one of the coolest trophies he has and he doesn't like the idea of giving it up. He also mentioned that possibility creating a copy of it and giving away that one. So he'll keep the original. This is news to me as well. Then he also says how if he can't get in a good shape to defend it, then he may consider giving it away. So Engin replied, I just told what I was told by the friend of Denis Siplenkov, a common friend between these two. So the big news is that this issue is resolved, and what Devon should be doing from this point on is not let Morozov keep the hammer, because Morozov has shown that he doesn't respect it. Don't give it to someone who doesn't respect it at this point. Devon should keep it with himself. I know it sounds weird because that was his hammer. I know that Dennis deserved that by beating Devon, but that was Devon's idea. WL gave that hammer to Devon Larratt. And unless the arm wrestling community demands the legacy hammer to be in play once again, and by arm wrestling community, this time I don't mean the fans, but the elite arm wrestlers themselves, only then they will respect it, and only then Devon should allow that hammer to move around one more time, just like the right arm hammer is doing right now. But it doesn't seem to be the viable option unless Devon removes the WL badge from it. Let's see if Devon does that. Because if it happens, then big players like Engin Terzi, king of the table, I guess and I hope that they will be okay to kind of accept that at least as a side trophy at their event. So if Levan is competing, yeah, the main trophy is our belt, but that's also a trophy which is put on the line. It is not a WL trophy, it does not have that huge WL badge anymore, and this in my opinion should solve the issue that we are having right now, because Engin also mentioned clearly that him being a promoter, it's kind of understandable that he wouldn't want the WL hammer to be presented at his event, so get rid of the WL hammer. I mean, don't get rid of the hammer, but the WL badge, and that's the solution in my opinion. Then they discuss the Brian Shaw topic. It was interesting. Devon always mentions that Brian Shaw is going to kill Eddie Hall, which I think most of us believes. But Neil Pickup is going to be training Eddie Hall from this weekend onwards. Not this weekend, but this Wednesday. So from tomorrow onwards. And the footages can be viewed weekly. At least they'll train once a week. And that can be viewed on Arm Wars members only page. I think that's a cool idea. People who are interested can pay to watch that. Devon said that Brian Shaw should be thinking about these matches from now on. Andrei Smaev, Haviland from Australia, I don't know who this guy is. Iron Bibi, that was suggested by both Neil and Devon. Magnus Carlsen, Kirill Sarychev, and then after that, 2-3 years later, Matt Mask should be the guy. To be honest, none of these names excite me too much. I don't really like these matches, but let me know in the comments if you do. Then Abhas Rana versus Orden Larratt. I know I said I'll create a separate video about this, which I will, but this is not the separate video because it has too many other interesting topics to discuss as well. So first of all, they're thinking that Abhas is a junior WAF world champion, which isn't true. They're mistaken, because junior, I guess, is under 21 or under 18, I guess. Youth was under 21, now it's under 23, and junior is under 18. But Abhas won under 15, if I'm not correct, which is sub-junior. Now he's 16 years old and he's massive. So they're already talking about this match. And Devon said that we want someone for Orden right now who's a legit arm wrestler, who has some kind of character, and who is probably a junior world champion. So he was talking about Orden Larratt. Then they discussed that match in detail. Orden said that right now he's number 2 behind Mazahir, which can be the case, but it is not proven right now. I won't be so sure. I won't be surprised if there are some people who can top roll Abhas Rana's wrist right now. But he can totally be number 2 in the country. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens either. So then they discussed some other matches, which we'll discuss, like Orden versus Rob, Orden versus Coach Ray, practice pulls. I'll discuss that in a separate video. Otherwise, it will cross the 10-minute mark. But Orden did say that he does not like the WAF rule set and he wants super matches only, because WAF also does not give any money. There is no incentive from the Canadian government. A user mentioned, you have 1 million subscribers but don't have money to fly your son to WAF. Yeah, right, buddy. Poor kid is stamped as the experiment nailed it, Ray. So the thing is that it kind of makes sense, because they are making more money from arm wrestling than any of the guys who are getting any kind of support from their government. So money shouldn't be an issue here. I know it's not directly from WAF, but they can recover at least the flights money if they do some kind of vlogs and stuff. So that shouldn't be a problem for the Devon Larratt family as of now. I do agree with this comment, but it's about what they want, and that is of utmost importance, and it is not WAF as of this moment. Then we'll talk about Kamil Jablonski versus Alex Cordecha. Kamil was asked by a fan, why don't you pull someone in November left arm, maybe Alex Cordecha? And then Kamil mentioned, he don't want to pull me. Then the user said, he's scared of you. And Kamil said, I think yes. I think his weakness is against flop press, like what Jerry do to him. I do agree. I think Kamil beats Alex Cordecha both left and right arm. Would you call it being scared? Yeah, kind of, you can say. If you think that somebody is going to beat you and you don't pull that guy, you may not be scared of that guy directly, but you may be scared of the after effects that those losses, which in this case can be both left and right, are going to cause to you. So once again, a bold statement, and Kamil, this is something that I really like about Kamil. He does not hold anything back. Thanks for watching. Like the video and subscribe.